It's a beautiful morning here in Sugar Creek, Ohio. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and it's a perfect time to do a VR in support of my buddy John at Three River Blades. Great guy, interesting guy to talk to, a lot of fun, and very generous supporter of some stuff I'm doing for subscribers giveaway. But this is not about me, it's about him. And this is my VR. I want to give a little bit of kind of my knife history, and I hope I get this right, John, in terms of the spirit of what you're looking for. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about my life, when knives became important to me, and then because I'm a knife maker and it's such a big part of my life, a little bit of how those knives connected to becoming a knife maker. And also, I want to let John know and all of his subs that in appreciation of his channel, of just the great guy that he is, I also want to give a prize for this contest. So you will win the contest that John has for you, but I'm also donating one to support him. And I'd like to donate this knife right here, which is a very nice case knife. It's got a pocket clip on the side there. This knife is a little liner lock, snaps open like that. Has this liner there that you push in, and walks and talks closed. And this knife's so special. I actually won this knife in a contest that Cutlery Lover did, and Jeff is such a great guy. And as soon as I got this knife, I had this feeling, because he's done so much for the knife community on YouTube, and he's always backing people who have new channels and stuff. And the minute I got this knife, I thought, I'm probably not allowed to keep this. I've got to enter this into someone else's contest and just have a chance to honor Jeff and his generosity. And I know a lot of you are subscribed to Cutlery. Why do I have a hard time saying his name? Cutlery Lover. And so I'm just grateful to him, and want to enter this knife and give John, your subs, a chance to win this knife as well. I will send this to you. You can send this out, make a drawing for it, however you want to do it, buddy. But I got your back, and I'm so thankful for your support of me. So let's jump in. I'll do a little video about my knife life, I guess, and kind of a little history of knives and that have been important to me, and then how I started making them. So watch this. When I was just a baby, my parents took me from the United States to the Philippines. They had been living there for 5 years, came home on furlough, and I was born in the United States. This is a picture of me as a little kid sitting on top of a Gadang man's shoulders. My family lived in the north of the Philippines in Luzon with a tribal people called the Gadang. My mom and dad were linguists and were studying their language, and my dad wrote the first Gadang dictionary. Growing up there in a primitive place without electricity, I was used to people carrying knives, using them every day, and got a real love for the outdoors. Here's a picture of a Gadang man and woman in their traditional dress, and a lot of fond memories of living there. I have this Gadang shield, a war shield that's an antique that was given to me by Gadang men who were friends of my mom and dad, and this is a traditional spear, very, very old when I got it, and as a little boy. And I'm honored to have this, and we'll pass this down to my kids. My first toys actually were wooden knives and guns carved by Gadang men for me. First knife I got about that time was a little Swiss Army knife like this one, and my love of knives grew from there. Later, we moved to Kathmandu, Nepal, and had the privilege of living there for 5 years. It was a wonderful place, and again, I have great memories of Nepal. Of course, the first knife I bought there, I saved up my allowance and bought a kukri very much like this one. This isn't the first one I bought, but it sure looked a lot like this. Then my dad went back to the United States for some meetings and came back to Nepal, and he brought a knife just like this one for me as a gift. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. I used to also buy knives like just exactly like this one in the marketplace. They were made by hand by blacksmiths. There's no maker's mark on this, and you can see the fit and finish isn't all that hot. But I would buy these kind of knives every chance I got because I just thought they were so cool. So those weren't the only knives I had, but I picked the ones that were most influential on me growing up. The first knife I had, the first knife I bought in Nepal, and the knives I used to buy in the bazaar whenever I would save up my allowance. And I did it so much, actually, my dad told me I was not allowed to buy any more knives because I just was collecting them right and left. So I want to fast forward those are sort of formative knives for me, and using knives. And then as a knife maker, I want to show a little bit of an evolution of how I became a knife maker, and kind of a little history of knives in my life that led me along the journey of starting to make knives myself. Strangely enough, my knife making started because I made bows like this one. I made all wooden traditional bows, no fiberglass. This one is made out of yew wood and has bamboo backing. So the part of the bow that faces you right there is made out of bamboo. And because I was making a lot of traditional bows back in the early 90s, I started flint knapping and chipping my own arrowheads, which led to making some flint knives like this one that I knapped out of some Ohio flint. People really like these and used to buy a lot of these off of me. And then I started making my own broadheads out of steel for hunting. This is one of my earliest broadheads that I made, and because that was so much like making a knife, I thought, I ought to make my own knife. So this is one I made. It's actually the second knife that I made. The first one was a folding knife, and I can't find it to take a picture for you. But this one was made out of a circular saw blade. It has an Osage orange handle, and I used nails for the rivets. About that time, I started looking for a knife-making mentor, and I found Rick Hinderer, who lives in Ohio not far from me. And at the time, Rick didn't make tactical knives. He made really fancy art knives like this one. He made some hunting knives, and I guess you would say some tactical knives, but this is what he was famous for. I wanted one of these knives so bad. The blade is forged by him out of nickel and steel. The mocha-made bolster there and mother of pearl, fancy file work. I mean, this is just a gorgeous art knife. Rick wanted me to have this. I didn't have any money, wanted one of his knives so bad, so he ended up trading this with me for a $120 gun that I had, and it was so generous of him, and it was a big inspiration. This knife is one of the first successful folding knives that I made, and I made this knife for my father-in-law. It's a slip joint folder, and my father-in-law, Chris, has passed away, and I made this in appreciation for his generosity. He was a building contractor, and Chris made it possible for me to build this knife shop that I work in every day, or at least when I'm making knives. And I'm so grateful for my father-in-law's kindness and generosity, and gave him this knife as a way of saying thank you. When he passed away, my mother-in-law gave it to me as a gift, and I'll treasure it always and pass it down to my kids. So John, that's kind of the history of my knife life, and I tried to show the blades that kind of stick out in my mind as mileposts. I've had hundreds and hundreds of knives in my life, but these are ones that somehow were pivotal, somehow stick out to me, and especially as a knife maker. I want to thank you so much for having this contest. Thanks so much for what you do for the other people in the knife making community here on YouTube. Appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for supporting me and my current giveaway, the 1,200 subscriber giveaway. It's very generous of you to give a prize and to back me, and I'm honored to do the same thing for you, buddy. Hey, everyone, have a great weekend. Be sure to subscribe to Three River Blades. John's an awesome guy. You will be entertained, and you will enjoy interacting with him. Leave him a comment. Congratulate him on his subs, and everyone have a good weekend.